Yeah,
Hey,
all right.
thanks so much for coming to the webinar today. It's super exciting. It is 12 o'clock p.m. here in Denver, Colorado, which means it is 2 p.m. where Robert is in New York City. And I'd love to hear where you guys are chiming in from. So there's a chat over on the right of your screen. If you guys can just introduce where you're coming in from and who's here. Hey, Dorothy from Chicago. Awesome. In this chat the whole time too, Jeremy's colleague, Robert's colleague, is going to be manning some questions, as well as Maura, who, if you've been on an Edgar webinar before, you know her, will also be getting your questions answered. So definitely come on in and let us know questions throughout this. Ooh, Michelle from Germany, super exciting getting all of you guys here
Very cool.
in one room. So keep it going, share your social handles. If you find someone who's in the same industry or working on the same goals, connecting afterwards. We always like to get that community going. And today, especially, I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about how your drive as a business leader and a marketer and your company values and passion can come across in the strongest way possible on social media to bring the right people to your business and spread your message even further so you can start to change people's lives and start to solve their pain points with your product or service through one type of media, and that is having a video first strategy. And guys, this is one of my favorite topics, and I'm so excited to learn from Robert on it right along with you, because I honestly didn't start out being comfortable on video or creating video content at all. And it is something that can be a little bit scary at first. So having a strategy behind it and seeing the numbers of how it can drive your business is going to blow your mind in wanting to start to jump in and get started. And to be honest, Seth Godin actually has one of the best lines ever that kind of got me over this hump. And that is that, no one ever gets talking block. You get writer's block, but you don't get talking block that often in life. So if you're struggling to create content that's in written format, why not take a break from that and start to do it in a way that's going to authentically connect with your community and create that video? So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Robert here to introduce himself and to start to get this webinar going.
Cool. So I'm curious, Megan, now that you've been doing it for a while, how do you feel? Because you first started, you were, kind of clunky, you were a little bit, not natural. How do you feel about doing this now?
I love it now. It is one of my favorite ways to be able to speak to people, because really when it comes down to it, and you guys have heard it before, people buy from people on social media, and it's just having a conversation. I grew up pretty shy actually as a kid, so not being able to talk to people kind of one-on-one wasn't my strongest suit, but doing video stuff is a way that I'm able to get passionate about things I like and actually describe them in the tone and have that sort of know, like, and trust factor really kind of increase for our brand and stuff like that. So I love video marketing so much.
That's awesome. That's great that you said that, and let that be, the lesson for everybody here. Just, start doing it, try it. You're going to get better as you go on, and you're going to learn a lot. So that's all we have today, really. That's it.
Thanks for joining.
Okay, cool. All right, so question here. This is from Edgar. Are you going to pop the presentation up, or do I need to do something?
Sure, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you very much. Awesome. All right, and so my name is Robert Weiss. I'm here in New York City, and you will probably within the next 30 to 45 minutes hear some sirens out there. So just letting you all know that we may have to deal with that at some point. So as Megan mentioned, video is so awesome, and getting out there to start doing it is really the first step. If you have seen any of these webinars with Megan 2 or 3 or 4 times, I bet you'll say, yeah, I kind of know Megan now, right? Because you've seen her with different hair, you've seen her with different shirts, maybe a different background, and you get to know Megan. And that's the beautiful thing about having a video strategy, is that people will get to know you. And as Megan said, people buy from people. So, having a plan to get started and learn is really important. So the agenda today, we're going to talk a little bit about why video is important, uncover some of the myths, focusing on one, i.e. the cost, talk about high-level video strategy and how we get into it for social media, and of course our video first strategy. And there we go with the sirens right there. So just a little bit about Multivision, because everybody says you should tell people about your company and who you are, although I don't like doing it. I've got about 15 years in digital marketing. I'm not a video guy. My video experts are the team behind me right here that edit, that shoot, that make Multivision look great and our clients look great. And over the last 8 years, we've done about 750 videos, and they've spanned almost every single business objective, from brand awareness to social media to sales support, across the board. And every single skill set, we say, except explosions. We haven't done explosions yet. But the most important thing here is that we've worked with big companies, but we've also worked with solo entrepreneurs. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm too small for video, well, get over it, because you're not. And actually, video can really support your objectives, because you can always be there on your website, in person, in social, telling your story and being authentic when you're only one person. So video allows you to do that pretty well. Over the last couple of years, we've gotten some really awesome recognitions that we're really, really proud of, because these are from client reviews. These are not awards that you pay for and then 10 other companies get the same award. These are recognitions because we're top rated from our clients, and we're really, really proud of that, and we appreciate our clients. Our company is split up into 3 core services. So we are not, quote unquote, a video production company. And this is important to you listening, because a lot of people start with the content, which is the middle side, the production. Yes, we are a full-on turnkey video production company, but it's the before and after that really sets us apart. And this is why I put this slide here, because I want to talk to you about this. It doesn't really start with the production. If you're working with a production company, a lot of times you will start to tell production company what you want in a video from a visual standpoint. But what is really important is the before and after. What is the strategy, i.e. the business objective? And then, of course, what is the distribution channel of that video? And that's going to determine a lot about, is that content relevant to support the objective and the distribution channel? So I guess the first key takeaway here is think about the before and after of video. So when you produce that content, you have a plan. So some of you guys are kind of not quite there yet with video, and I'm going to pass this over to Megan to talk a little bit about the state of social media specifically with video.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. So the state of social media video is you really need to be getting a piece of the pie when it comes to video content, guys. Video content really does get so much more engagement. And as you know, engagement is the name of the game when it comes to what the algorithms are putting their love towards these days. So I really want to kind of stress as we go along here some statistics to kind of give you that little why behind what you're going to be creating. According to a lot of studies that have been done, a video generates about 12,000 more engagements than text and images combined. And videos really are versatile and they're easy for people to consume. And as we were talking about, once you get brave and once you get comfortable practicing doing these, they're actually pretty easy for you to create. So it's a win-win for both your customers watching it and you as a creator to get more content out. Because when it comes down to it, social media really is that attention game. You are vying for people's attention. So what's happening now is more and more platforms are encouraging brands to share video content, and they're making it easier to find that video content when the algorithm is serving it up. This year, we saw so much happen with video on social media. Things like vertical videos getting a lot of love because mobile content is being increased so much. So when you're creating your videos, keeping things in mind of how your customers want to consume it, doing things like filming on just your iPhone with a vertical format is going to get you more engagement there. And it's easier and easier to kind of say, okay, if social media posts are getting more views, if they're getting more engagement, which network should I be on for this? And each network is a little bit different. So as you're starting to create your videos and add them to your MeetEdgar library, keeping things in mind like people on Facebook typically watch those videos on mute quite a bit more than the others. So make sure you're using the things within Facebook, like their caption tool, things like that, in order to make sure your videos are getting your message across in the way people are consuming it. So think about things that you can do after people are watching that video. What's the call to action? You know, people are having such decision fatigue when it comes down to things on social media. If you can keep your videos focused, if you can keep them on track on each platform and speak right to people, you'll see that engagement love. You'll see the algorithm start to give those posts quite a bit more reach. And be patient when you're getting that reach. You're training your community that you are there for them. You are going to show up for them on their platform face to face. And you'll start to see people actually engage and ask questions of you. You can ask questions back from them. And you can be that brand who's just having a chat like you're on a coffee date with a friend and getting those one-on-one connections.
Yep, great point. You know, and that's a little bit, if I can just go back a slide here, why the strategy is so important, because that's going to determine, what length it is, what you're going to talk about, the topics. When you think about advertising, that's a very, very different type of video project than sales video about a product, right? So again, it's the strategy where that is being distributed that will drive all the things that Megan's talking about. So we just talked a little about some of the hard facts, some of the numbers about video, but there's also a lot of soft facts there that just video kind of gives people, which is like the shortest amount of information in, the most amount of information in the shortest amount of time. I'm trying not to read, but to look here. And if you can show somebody your facility rather than telling them your facility, they're going to get a lot more from that. Think about a sales process, or think about videos that are on your website. People are going to your site all the time. It builds trust, credibility, informs, educates. And as Megan said, it's the type of content that people are looking for now. So they want video. That's not to say that they're never going to read, and your white papers and all the text on your website is not important. But think about the beginning stages of the sales process when they're just getting to know you. They're not going to invest a lot of time with you before they're really invested in you trying to help them. So video does that really, really well. And the last thing there is easy to rewatch and share. I think the share thing is really important, because there's a lot of people that are out doing their research and have to give this information to decision makers. So imagine, what happened before. You have somebody, like myself, that goes in with a stack of paper like this to talk to a decision maker and then tries to explain your product or service. That's the old way. Now, the new way is they're just showing them the video without even saying the word. So everything that you want to communicate in that video gets communicated directly to that decision maker without any interrupting. And that's huge in the business to business and even the business consumer sales process.
At Edgar, similar to what Robert was talking about, is that you have people on different areas in social media as your followers, those who are ready to buy, those who are still in that decision-making process. So when you're thinking about creating videos specifically for social media, there's a lot of ways to get your value about your product or service out there. So if you're struggling and kind of brainstorming and thinking, you know what, I have a lot of content, but what can I create as video content? I wanted to give you guys some ideas here. You can do things like go to your customer service inbox, or go to your blog comment section and actually start to mine that to see what are the questions people are asking over and over again, and actually make a video to answer that, to get your point across to people all at once. You can do things like hold a Q&A session even, and this is a great strategy to take, especially if you're testing out something new, because you can start to do this on like a Facebook Live and start to see the engagement rate, start to see if people stay around for the whole thing. And that's a really great indicator for you that you've hit the nail on the head of something that's resonating with your followers, because they're staying there, they're engaging, they're asking questions, and they want to know more. And that can create this full circle where you can use what you learned on that quick, 5-minute Facebook Live conversation to then drive your content strategy all together. So video and content can really be used interchangeably if you're doing it right. Product explainer and how-to, guys, if someone is going to hand over their credit card to you, they want to know the service that they're getting. So start to do things like show the inside of your product on video. Give people that really great tour around. It's kind of like if you're a realtor selling a house, just describing it on a written piece of paper isn't going to be as strong as if you're going around and showing people. So if you're a SaaS service or if you're a product service, show people what your product is going to look like and help them succeed with it. And you want to really create videos out of the existing content you have. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time you write a blog post. You can repurpose that and you can drive more traffic by doing things like sharing a quick Instagram story, telling people that really quick tip that you just put out on your blog. Let people know that it's there. Brand culture and behind the scenes videos. How did you write that blog piece? Who's a part of the team writing that? Show it off to get people that sort of tribe aspect, that if they're following you on social media, they're getting something that other people are not by just visiting your blog. They're getting that behind the scenes of how you create your business and learning from you. And that can be huge in bonding your followers to want to keep following you. Announcement sales and discounts are really great. Think about how people have been buying things for years. They go into retail stores and they have that one-on-one conversation with people. They have that face-to-face connection. They're used to that. So if you're selling something, give them that value. If you have a discount going on, get your excitement around why you're so excited to offer them that discount. One of the strongest things you can also do is customer reviews and testimonials. Social proof is something that's huge. Think about the sites that are winning like Yelp and stuff like that. When you want to know if you're in a new city about a restaurant, you want that social proof about people. So think about your power users, who's out there and who's kind of a pro consumer of your product or service, and think how they describe it and see if you can get a quick testimonial from them to say, this is how this product or service has solved my pain point to make my life better, so that they can have that connection and maybe other people are actually having and struggling with the same things they are, and they can get people over that objection hump. And we actually have a little handout that I'm going to drop into the chat right now that just kind of outlines some of these really great video ideas for social media in general. So you can take Robert's awesome video first strategy and start to really incorporate it into your social media too. So go ahead, I'll drop it into this handout section in the chat now. Go ahead and grab that so you can kind of take these great ideas and incorporate them into your social strategy too.
Cool. So I think the key takeaway here, so I'm looking at some of the comments here, and some of the questions are, is this expensive? Would you recommend a pre-made video service? Things of that nature. And we're going to talk about the average cost in a moment or so, but the important thing is that video drives actions and conversions across every single point of the marketing and sales process. So everybody here really needs to determine the level of quality that they deem appropriate for their business. Patrick, you mentioned here no more than 20 pounds per month. That could be okay, but if you're a lawyer, probably not good, right? You're a law firm, you're a lawyer, but you could utilize this and get a contraption like this and put the phone. This is a selfie stick with a tripod attached to it to make sure it's stable, so it stays there all the time, and do a video for under 20 pounds a month. The first couple times you might not be good, but you'll practice it and you'll get better. And then what might happen is you'll see that video is actually doing what the slide here says, which is driving actions and conversions. And then you may start to add more budget to your video content creation. So every firm really needs to look at their own professionalism, their use cases, and make their own best decisions. So that's funny, what's stopping you? It's too expensive, right? That's typically the first thing that we get is, video is too expensive. And again, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Some of the other things are, I'm not going to look good on camera. I think we spoke to that in the very early stages of this webinar. If you just get it out there and do it, you're going to get better. We don't know what to do videos on. We just addressed that, in a slide before, looking at your sales process, looking at the common questions that people ask you, and answer those questions. People want information that helps them solve their problems. If they're asking you, if you hear that same question 3 or 4 times a week, you should probably have it on video. And somebody asked here if a video creation service was good. Not to answer a question, because when somebody asks you that question, you're not getting an actor, hold on, let me get somebody else to answer that. You are answering that. right? It's your service. So they want to see you answer that question. And then some of the other things, I won't have time. I've never done it before. Get over it and get started. So we have on our website, we've got a slew of tips, and I think Megan and her team are going to send this out in a link afterwards. But these video marketing tips include, like, what's the versatility of business? What's the value of a video first strategy? What makes up the cost? How to budget for these things? And a lot more. So it's actually at multivisiondigital.com, and there's a tips page there. But again, we'll come back to that. Everybody stay on the webinar for another couple minutes, because we want to talk about that question of how much does a video cost? And the quick answer is there really is no average, right? It doesn't go by time. I want to like a short video that does this. It really goes by the investment that a video production company is going to make in times, materials, and equipment. So we've got this like little chart here that you see: location, cameras, staff, animation. And so let's just say you've got a budget of $500, right? You're going to have one location, one camera, one person. We can't go to 4 locations on that shoot. We only have $500, and certainly you're not going to get any animation or motion graphics because we just don't have the budget for that. You are not allotting enough budget to a video production company to do all these different things. But let's just add another zero there, $5,000. So you're still at that one location, but now you've got 2 cameras, 2 people. And then you can add a little bit of motion graphics to that to make your video like a little bit more professional, right? So let's add another zero to that. Say $50,000. You've got multiple days of shooting, multiple people, multiple cameras. Maybe those cameras are not an iPhone anymore at your $500 level, but maybe you've got something like a Red or an Alexa. These are $50,000, $60,000 cameras, and also the lenses that goes with those cameras are also $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, right? So the quality of the equipment is much higher. You're also getting a lot more people. You're getting motion graphics. So, these examples here, and again, I'll just go back here to your $500, to your $5,000, and your $50,000, right? So it really determines what you want out of your video project and the type of professional organization you are. The other thing is the type of business objective, right? How long is this video going to last you? And where is it going into the decision-making process of your customers? Video is great, as we said before. It drives action and drives conversions pretty much across every single aspect of the sales and marketing cycle. And one of the things I like to do when looking at these numbers, and I say, you know what? Take these numbers and cut them in half. They're still pretty amazing numbers for video to impact every single part of the funnel. So knowing how long a lead generation video is going to last you, probably about 4 or 5 years, is going to determine your investment. A social media video, I would not spend $50,000 on a social media video, probably in the lines of $500 to $5,000, right? But something that's going to last 4 or 5 years, you want to spend a little bit more time on. So when you have an investment, let's say $5,000, $20,000, $50,000, whatever that means to your company, because of the different resource allocations, a video production company can probably get you many different allocations of that. So you have X investment, again, could be 5, could be 10, 20, it's up to you, but you might at one project get one promotional video out of that. And then at a different time of year, or even the next year, you take that same investment and you might get 2 or 3 case studies out of that. And then again, that same monetary investment, you might get 10 FAQs. And that's because the production, we don't need as high-end cameras for the FAQs as we do for the corporate overview video. So although you're investing the same amount of dollars, you're going to output many different types of video content. And this is also helpful when deciding where you get started in your video journey, because one video is not a video strategy. The cadence of creating video content is going to be different for every single organization. Some are going to do it once a year. Some are going to do it twice a year, 4 times a year, 6 times a year, or more. Again, depending on your level of involvement and success with video. And I think that will increase over time. But depending on where you get started is going to determine a lot on what type of budget you have and also the amount of videos that you create. So we're going to get into a little bit of the strategy now and how to start making decisions and then getting into that video first strategy. But we like to say the first thing to do when thinking about video is stop thinking about video. And again, it goes back to this slide right here. Are you trying to create an awareness video, a decision-making video, a customer service video? What is the business objective first, and then go in to create the content? Megan?
I wanted to actually touch on one question that I saw happen over there real quick by Marilee. And you're asking about if you're just making it for social media. And I kind of want to go back and think about this idea of authenticity on social media. You know, if you are making super polished videos, oftentimes people just scroll past those really quickly in their scroll. So oftentimes even just an iPhone video shot vertically is going to do best on social media because it produces that authenticity that people are there to connect with their friends and family. They're there to hang out with people. So you want to be a brand that people want to hang out with. And if it's too polished and you're putting too much behind it, it can come across salesy. So I would say don't get too afraid of just trying it and starting with that iPhone. You don't have to worry about it being perfect before you get started. So I would definitely suggest doing what you're saying over there, Marilee, of just making your own videos for social media to get started on it. And the way you're going to really win or lose video viewers when you're starting to make these with your iPhone or however you're starting to make it on your computer is really with your opener and closer of your video. You know, people, again, are on a scroll on social media. They are scrolling. So what is going to stop them is going to be some piece of content that hooks them in. It's, again, going back to that Seth Godin marketing purple cow concept, that if you're driving by a bunch of brown cows, you're not going to stop and look. But if one of them is purple, you're probably going to pull over and take some time to give your attention to that. Same thing with video. You got to hook people in right away. You got to think, okay, what is going to make people stop their scroll and actually watch this? So you want to provide context of what your video is going to provide them. They need to see value right away because, again, they are having their attention grabbed by a lot of different brands, by a lot of friends and family on social media. So hook yourself in really quickly, reveal your personality on there so people can really get that know, like, and trust factor. And at the end of the video, that closer, you need to add a strong call to action. And one call to action per video is all you need. Again, it goes back to that decision fatigue. People, business owners are making decisions all day. The more that you can help guide them that this is the right decision to reach your goals and this is what it's going to help solve as a pain point, the better. And as you're starting to do this and get your really strong hook opener and your really strong call to action closer, there's 2 types of videos that you can really produce on social media, long form and short form videos. And when I say long form, guys, that is being described these days as 3 to 5 minute video for social media. So long form isn't you having to sit in front of a camera for an hour and talk. It is a 3 to 5 minute video. And these do best on Facebook because they don't have that video limit that a lot of the other networks do. So Facebook and LinkedIn are going to be really great for your long form videos. LinkedIn especially is loving video these days. They do want to kind of compete with the big boys when it comes to social media marketing. Facebook is loving videos because they want to compete with YouTube. So they're giving that high algorithm love to it. So when you're creating these 3 to 5 minute videos, start it out with that strong hook to get people in and do one call to action at the end. Short form videos are really great for people on any network, but especially focusing these for Instagram and Twitter. Instagram on your feed, your videos can be 60 seconds long. Your stories can be 15 seconds long. On Twitter, they can be 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But again, people are on Twitter especially is one of the fastest moving social networks these days. So keeping it shorter, keeping in that minute range for social media is really going to help you out. And as you're doing your call to action too, think about what makes your brand unique. Think about your competitors and what you can add to the conversation that they're not talking about. So you're niching down who your audience persona is, and so that you're speaking right to them. So when they watch your video, they go, oh yeah, me too. Are you in my brain? That's what I'm thinking right now. So niche it down until your product is the right choice for people. So they're not thinking, well, there's this other product out there that might be okay, but that you are really coming across as the only choice to solve their pain point. Another thing that you really want to do in your videos on social media is what we harp along in a lot of these webinars is think about a way you could tell a story in it. Our brains as humans are hardwired for stories. We love that kind of origin story. This is where you started, middle, end sort of resolution. So if you can share your personal story or share your business story in there, it's going to make people remember your brand that much more. And if they're not ready to buy, once they are, you are going to be stuck in their head much stronger than other brands who are just doing kind of dry videos and how-tos. So even in your how-to videos, think how you can add some of your business story, some of your personal story right on in there so that when it comes time for people to follow that call to action, you are going to be the one they go to.
Great stuff. So talking about like the strategy here, right? We've talked a few times about focusing on the business objective at hand, and that would really going to drive the content. So I think we can't, harp on that as much. Just don't start producing a video because you want to see something, whatever. Think about the business objective. Think about the one thing that you want to communicate in that video and how it can be plugged into your workflow. Is it a social video? Is it for SEO? Is it for your email marketing drip campaign? Is it to answer common questions? Is it for sales follow-up? Don't send that brochure anymore. Send 3 or 4 videos that answer questions. So again, aligning video towards a business objective is really, really important in the front end because that's going to build your roadmap for the next 3 or 4 years ahead. And the last couple of things, the distribution plan. We're going to talk about video first strategy in a couple minutes, so you can really amortize any investment that you make in video. But again, the goal is to make many videos, and whether that's one project is creating 10 FAQs like we showed in a couple slides earlier, or maybe doing a couple videos a couple times a year, whatever that means to you. The goal is to do many videos because that's what social media is all about. That's what content is all about. And unfortunately, as business owners and marketers, we're constantly challenged with creating content, which is why a video first strategy is great. But all of these high level things, the how-tos of how to have a plan and really how to align a strategy, that's topics for another webinar, which we hope to have down the road. But for this one, we're going to focus on a video first strategy and what that means to you. And if you all go onto our website later and watch some of our videos, you're going to see a lot of these slides in our presentation today in our videos. So right then and there, we're multi-purposing assets a lot, and that's like one of the things about a video first strategy. So we're assuming that you have come up with the right video for the right objective. We've talked about that 3 or 4 times today already. So the assumption here is that you've done that. So you've got that one video for that right objective. What do you do with it? Well, that's where we really want to take that and rip it apart and multi-purpose that video across many distribution channels. So you can take screenshots like I've done today and put it into your presentation, because what we're talking about today is stuff that I talk about all the time in my sales process, or even trying to convince people to do video. So we're utilizing those assets. We're not, as Megan said before, we're not recreating the wheel here. We can put them in sales letters. Instead of, again, sending an email with a brochure, send them to a link that is a video page, or that has links of videos that are on that product page of your website. Yes, they might be YouTube videos, but they're embedded on that specific page on your site. So instead of sending brochures out in that sales letter, you're actually telling people, here are a couple videos for you to watch. And letting people know that there's video there is going to inspire them to click, because why is, as Megan said, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of these channels want more video because we as humans like video. So tell people that there's a video there. Of course, put them on your websites, creating blogs from them, social media, emails. One of the things about, well, actually, we're going to talk about this in a moment. So take that video and just use it across your distribution channels, the same video, and reuse that over and over and over again. One of the beautiful things about MeetEdgar is that you can post over and over and over again. So we're going to talk about blogs here for a second and creating contextual content with and social media content with your video. So when you've got your video done, the first thing to do is go get it transcribed. We use a service called rev.com. That's rev.com. I don't have any stake in them, but they're great, they're fast, they're quick, and they're pretty accurate. And once you have that transcription, then you've got text that you can either keep as is or tweak a little bit for a blog. And one of the things that MeetEdgar does is kind of create those variations from those different points of time in your blog. So you've got the text. The next thing that you do is you want posts, like visual posts for your social media. So look at those moments in time. If it's a 1.5-minute video, it could be every 10 seconds that you have something interesting going on that you could do a screen capture, and then you've got an image for that post. And then you kind of match up those images with the transcripts and then upload them to all of the channels that you want. Facebook is different than Instagram, is different than LinkedIn, is different than YouTube. So you have multiple opportunities to leverage that video across multiple platforms and then kind of just reuse those things from a posting standpoint. So you have one video. Traditionally, people have had one distribution point. Now you have one video with multiple distribution points. So yeah, the last couple of things: post into Edgar and tag people and ask questions. So that last moment is if you have different people in your video, you can tag them so they can see themselves in that video, or you can ask questions to people. So if I was posting a video about a video first strategy, I might tag Megan and say, hey, Megan, what do you think of the video first strategy, right? So now Megan gets that, and she's going to come back. She's going to watch that video because now she wants to comment on that. So tagging people and asking questions is really important to engagement. So here's a couple examples of what we have done in our Edgar account, the first two columns there. And although it might be just a little bit small, but you can see some of the images there are those moments in time images that we have taken from our videos. And then the third column there is actually a blog. So you're seeing the same video, and the text there is basically a transcription of that blog. We've tweaked it a little bit to make sure our keywords are appropriate, but basically 85% of the blog is already done. Megan said this before, it's a lot easier, and I think you quoted Seth Godin, right? It's easier to speak than it is to write. And we talk about that all the time because lawyers and accountants are two big markets of ours, and they're constantly writing. So we can bang out like 4 or 5 videos in a couple hours, and then they can transcribe that into the written word versus having them trying to write 4 or 5 blogs, which takes them months on end. Back to you, Megan.
Also, we want to make sure that you guys are staying really committed to making your message stand out to the right people. So as Robert was talking about, social media is great because it's a platform that's free for us to distribute onto all of your channels at once. And you can really have the engagement of one of your posts help all the rest of your types of content get out even more. So how this works is if the algorithm is giving more love to your video, and people are liking, commenting, sharing because they're seeing it more on that video, that's a signal to the algorithm they want to see more from your brand. So your future posts from your MeetEdgar categories, like your quotes, your blog post links, stuff like that, are going to be more likely to show up in their news feed because the algorithm sees they want to see more content like that. So your video posts aren't only just good for the engagement on that one video post, it's good for your posts along the line. And one of the awesome things about using Edgar to do this is we schedule things on a category-based system. So you can get that really nice, robust posting schedule of your videos, of your blog posts, of your text-only tips, of your quotes, and they can all work together to support one view of who your company and brand is. And it can also support the engagement rates on each type of content. So start producing content so more of your blog post links start to show up in people's feed and more of your quotes start to show up into people's feeds. And you can drive more and more traffic to your site. Now, when you're creating content, of course, as Robert was saying, you can distribute on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, stuff like that. But what I would love to really push you to do is when you're uploading it either directly to the network or within MeetEdgar, upload that file as a direct file because the algorithm also really wants to keep people within their platform. So if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, of course, cross-promote on Facebook and Twitter and send people there. But don't make all of your videos link videos. Upload them directly because the networks will have a much stronger stake in wanting to show that to people to keep people on their platform. And when you're doing this as well, you really want to make sure that you're identifying what we call those 3 pillars of content. And in that handout I dropped into the chat, there's a great section on there that you can start to brainstorm your 3 content pillars. You know, for example, at MeetEdgar, our content pillars are going to be social media, efficiency and automation, because we're a social media scheduling tool, as well as remote work, because we're a company who is a remote working company. So we know that culture and what works well for us. So we share a lot of this diverse content, and people who aren't that interested in remote work can just leave that, but other people who are get to have that resonating feeling that we're a brand that is going to speak to what they want to learn about. So developing more than 1 pillar of content can be really great to diversify what you're speaking about on your videos and get people to know your well-rounded personality. So definitely make sure that you're doing that. And you know, when you are thinking about distributing all of the videos that you're creating, there's a ratio in the content marketing world that a lot of people talk about and saying, you know, if it takes you 2 hours to create a blog post, you should probably be putting about 8 hours into promoting that blog post, which is a lot of hours. And that's why having a strategy like being able to put all of this into your MeetEdgar library, load up all of this content so that it can be promoted out to each of your social channels is going to give you back about 8 hours of your day. And I really want to give you back about 8 hours of your day. Being a small company ourselves here at MeetEdgar, we know what it can be like trying to hop onto social media, getting distracted when you're on there. So loading it into your library and really having it go out when your followers are online, not when it's convenient to you, is not only going to get more reach and better ability for people to see it, it's gonna really help you create more time to get the content created that's going to give the value to your followers. And you know, as you're getting started too, I want you to think about how you can sit down and right before your video starts, whether it's a live or pre-recorded one, think about, you know, this idea of that, wow, this is the time I get to share my message and help people transform their life because I know my product or service is going to give value to them. So get excited about selling your product or service or giving your tips or your thought leadership ideas to get that excitement to come across in your videos. Add it to your Edgar library so it can be rotated through out to your social media platforms. And think about getting over that hump of selling. And I know, especially for me, sometimes talking about selling things on social media seems so weird since it's such a value-based platform. And that's what we see works really well. But if you're selling in a caring, value-added way, people are going to take the time to want to buy from you. Think about if you're showing up and trying to sell something to someone like your friend, sending them just a text message telling them, hey, buy this thing. That's not going to be as strong as coming across as going out to coffee with them, sitting down with them and saying, hey, look what I have here with this new tool. I think it would really help you. Let me show you this. And having that face-to-face interaction is going to be a much stronger selling tool than if that person just texted me to buy it. Same on social media. If I'm sitting down and trying to sell my product, my service, my lifestyle brand, my email list, having that face-to-face video to actually go out to people is going to be such a stronger sell than just a text-only status update. So think about that. Keep the social in social and really sit down and say, wow, video can really help me and my business succeed. And not only that, it can help my followers succeed too. So again, video first strategy is really going to be the way to go when it comes to social media marketing in 2019.
Yeah, I think these next two slides, I think they're the last slides, guys, really summed up almost everything that you just said. Is that Edgar is great because it makes you more productive and efficient, right? It's going to save you time by recreating all those posts, and when you couple that with a video first strategy, you can really save a lot of time and make this content marketing, drag a lot more effective. And if you also look at video, how it lasts a long time, think about that question on a product or service that you get asked all the time. How many years are you going to get asked that same question? Many years to come. So when you can reutilize those videos over and over again, pretty much on autopilot with MeetEdgar, that's when you really have a win-win-win situation. And then that's what we really wanted to accomplish here today, is kind of showcase the power of how video and MeetEdgar can work together. And one of our favorite quotes, I feel like we're all the way back to the very beginning here, is like, just get started. A year from now, you'll be glad you got started today, because you might not be good. You might be scared today, but tomorrow and the next day you won't. And one of the things that I look at Megan here, she's smiling all the time. And don't forget to do that. It's so important to smile when you're in front of the camera. And we coach people that all the time before they start to speak. Smile, because it really does come through. So
awesome. Oh my gosh, you guys, that was a really fun webinar for us to do. And I really appreciate you guys joining today. I'm going to stick around and show some kind of inside of MeetEdgar if you guys have questions, if you're not a user yet and want to see it. Definitely stick around. Robert will be here for a few more minutes too. If you have questions, keep popping them in if we missed any of them at all. Edgar is also doing a free month for you guys. So if you're not a user yet and you want to be, and you want to try Robert's awesome video first strategy to load up your video in there, if you want to sign up for a free month of Edgar to test it out, you can use the code video first. It's going to be in all caps when you sign up to get a free month of Edgar. We'll also put that in the replay email when we send it out, so you can grab it there. And yeah, like I said, we'll send out the replay, all that fun stuff there. It looks like we have some questions here about adding your promotions to Edgar and adding your calls to action to Edgar with your videos from Erica there and Linda. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Definitely keep the chat going there. If you have questions for Robert or Jeremy, they'll keep a lookout there. But let me go ahead and show you here in MeetEdgar. When you guys come into an Edgar account, this is what it's going to look like here. And that one call to action per video can be really helpful if you're using our categories in order to really guide your strategy. So this is how we go ahead and add content as well as schedule content in Edgar, is on a category-based system again, so you can get that really nice robust posting schedule going on. So if you're struggling, like Erica was speaking to, with adding a call to action to your videos, think about the types of posts you're sending out and how you can incorporate the calls to action that you already have into some of your video content. So if you don't want to remake those videos you already have, Erica, think about your categories here in Edgar. If you have, your sort of brand awareness categories, like your quotes, in order to really add consistency to your followers' day, you could make a category and call it like Motivational Monday. And some of those videos might just be you coming in talking about your biggest productivity tip of the week, something that helped you in your business. And you're not selling your business or your service, you're just helping add value to your client's week, getting them pumped for that sort of Monday vibe that's going on everywhere. So think about the ways that your categories now add calls to action that might not be super obvious to you. And you can start to create categories for your videos too. So when you're adding your video content to Edgar, you're going to click this Add New Category button right up here in the upper left corner. And this is our content composer here if you've never been into Edgar before. And as Robert was speaking to, it's a great distribution because you're able to choose which accounts you actually want this content to go out to. So if you have a piece of video content that you've created using Robert's video first strategy, you can distribute it to all of your accounts at once using Edgar. Again, giving you back so much time to get out there and create more video and to get people's attention going, to get them knowing about your product or service and not have to log on to each network and send it out. You're then going to tell Edgar which category it is. So you could create a nice video category. These are being pulled from that categories tab that we looked at. That's one of my favorite Edgar ones, Market Like a Nerd, because we're big marketing nerds over here. And then you're going to go ahead and write your post in this section here. So go ahead and compose your post here. Like I said, over here on the left, make sure you're telling Edgar where it should go. And then this little video icon here, we make it super easy to have this tooltip pop up where you're able to see the sort of the Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram file sizes that they allow. So Edgar won't ever let you upload a video that's not going to play all the way through on each network there. And you can upload it directly right here from your computer. So when I click on this, I can choose a video here from my computer. I can open it and I can go ahead and add it on to my video post. When you save your video post, it's going to go to your Edgar library here. And as Robert was mentioning, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So the awesome thing about the MeetEdgar library is all of your status updates stay in here. We're not going to let them send out once and just forget about them. They're going to stay in here so you can re-promote them. And this idea of writing it once, or talking once if it's a video, and promoting it twice is going to get you such a great advantage because it's really born out of this idea that only about 10% of your followers ever see anything posted on social. So we don't want all the hard work that you're doing talking in your videos to go to waste. And then you can just tell Edgar when to send it out. Super simple. Come to your schedule tab here. Go ahead and look at this weekly view. It's a week, but it does repeat over and over. So you only have to set it up once and decide when people are going to have the time to watch video. If you're just getting started, think about your own consumption habit. It's probably like at a lunch break, or it's probably after work, or right when you wake up. We typically check our phones. So you can think about clustering your status updates for when you want them to go out around those times. And once you start to build a community and build a brand, you can use your Facebook insights, your Twitter analytics to zone in on those times you're seeing those views spike. And you don't have to worry about posting it like when you're driving or something, or miss out on that opportunity to engage with people. And these will just cycle through based upon how much content you put in that category, resurfacing your evergreen videos, or you can always mark them as a use once video if it's something you're promoting in like a promotion or something. And it's a great way to kind of set it and forget it, free up your time to use Robert's video first strategy to create more content. So definitely, like I said, if you haven't yet, go ahead and grab a free month with that video first coupon. We'd also love to create some awesome community with you guys here. If you guys are just getting started with video, go ahead and upload your first video to like Facebook stories or to Instagram stories to practice. It's only going to live on there for 24 hours. So go ahead and upload it there. If you're brave, upload it to your feed and go ahead and tag MeetEdgar at MeetEdgar, DM us and let us know. And we'd love to come over, take a look, give it a little love, share it in our own stories. And tag Robert, let us know how it's going so we can kind of keep the conversation going on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook afterwards. And yeah, we definitely love to go ahead and see those. So at MeetEdgar, tag it there. And if you guys do have questions or trouble going ahead and redeeming that coupon, definitely email support@meetedgar.com. But it's just going to be video first, and I'll type it into the chat right there, all caps locks, when you redeem it on Edgar. Marilyn, if you have any trouble, support@meetedgar.com. I man that inbox, so I'll keep a lookout on it for you there.
So there's a couple questions I want to respond to in no particular order. First one is for Meryl Noeth. She says, should I make video tips for my Facebook page every couple days or once a week with myself and my own camera and selfie stick without using an outside company? The answer is yes, do it, right? again, every business needs to determine what's appropriate for them. You know, if you're a lawyer, you might not want to do that. We also encourage our clients, even though they're utilizing us, to do their own video, because it's all about the mixture of professional content and do-it-yourself content. And when you work with a professional, you're going to get better at being in front of the camera because they can help coach you. So the learning curve might be a little bit quicker. But the answer is yes. And one tip I have for everybody is when you sit down to do video, try to think of a way to produce multiple pieces of content at one time, even though you might not post them out on one day or even in 1 week, right? So you can, because it takes a little bit of time to think through what you want to talk about and get in the right mindset and then get everything quiet and, you know, make it look good. So you might as well shoot 3 or 4 or 5 videos around those topics at one time, cut them, edit them, and then launch them at different times of the week or the month of the year. And then Erica asked, she has a ton of video content without call to actions on them. What do you suggest? Go back and add a description, ? So there's a couple ways to go. If they're on YouTube, you can use cards, the little icon, ? button at the top, and that can kind of become your call to action. They have ending cards now that you can add, which is a built-in built-in YouTube function. You can add that, or you can keep those videos there, go back, add call to actions, and then re-upload them again. More content, new keywords, lots of different things you can do. So there's some ideas for Erica. And then lastly, one more question here. Carla said, is it better to use native video on social media or link to a video that is embedded on your website? And I think each social platform would say, upload directly to us. So you want to do that because Megan mentioned that each video platform wants to keep you there. They're competing with eyeballs. So the last thing they want to do is send you away to another competing platform. But for the most visibility and for the most amount of posts, you should probably be doing everything. Megan, what do you think about that?
Was I off there? My bad. I was going to say, absolutely. It's all about getting the most out of the time you're spending, whether it's creating content or posting it. Because as small business owners, it does take a lot out of you in order to put yourself out there, to put yourself out on video. Maybe it's only a 2-minute video, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of bravery to do that. So the more you can repurpose it, write it once, go ahead and promote it out multiple times. Guys, you'll see if you're not used to this concept, it can seem a little bit scary, but think about the idea that if you see a commercial on TV more than once, you're not going to get mad about it. And if it's an important resonating message, who knows if the person who saw it the first time wasn't ready to buy or wasn't ready to actually watch it at that time, or maybe it didn't hit them at the time that it could at a later date. So resharing it a couple months later is going to be a strong way that you can reinforce yourself as an expert in your industry and really make sure that you are showing up when people are ready to buy. So definitely, it's going to be having that strong call to action, telling people who you're for, and not being afraid to tell people who you're not for. MeetEdgar is here for small businesses, small marketing teams, but we're not great for huge agencies. And that is okay for us to say. We're not trying to please everyone. And video is a great way to get that across, because it's not that we're trying to be mean to huge agencies, but we want to create a tool that's really going to drive forward solopreneurs, small businesses, and smaller marketing teams who want to free up their time to create more content and not waste it on just getting out there and posting on social media all the time. So kind of getting brave in your videos, saying all that stuff can be a huge way to get your values of your company across to people in the most effective way.
Yeah, one of the things that Derek over there just DM'd me, because he wrote a post on uploading to native and all the file sizes. So 2 other benefits is that the autoplay feature. If you upload directly to the platform, there's the autoplay, which you won't have if you're linking from one platform to the other. And also the analytics. You get analytics from, natively. So you upload to Facebook, you're not going to get watch time or view time on YouTube, but you'll get them on Facebook. And that's actually pretty huge, because if you take that one video and you upload it to 3 different platforms, you might find that one platform is resonating more than the other 2. So therefore, you want to spend more time on that platform because that's where your customers are versus another platform. So great point by Derek over there.
Yeah, analytics is what it is all about. You know, you got to listen to your community. You got to read between the lines on what content they're consuming and what content they're kind of ignoring in order to produce more of it. So that analytics part is something I always like to think of, that you don't want to play golf in the dark. You don't want to not see where your golf ball is going. Your swing's never going to get better. Same thing with your video. If you're not looking at your analytics, if you're not really paying attention to that stuff, you're not going to be creating the content that your community wants to see. So really, that is an awesome tip from Derek for sure. I love that.
Cool. We crossed the 1 hour.
For sure. Like we said,
we're playing this. We're like, oh, 20 minutes.
Awesome, guys. So we are going to go ahead and send this out in a recording, like we said. If you do have any trouble finding it, it'll be on our YouTube channel, or you can email either one of us, support@meetedgar.com, or I think Robert popped his contact information in there too. And we can always get that to you.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome.
Everybody.
Yeah. Thanks so much for showing up, guys.
All right.
Keep the conversation going on social media. Tag us in all your fun videos on stories and on your feed at MeetEdgar.com. And we'll go ahead and get this video party started. Have a really great rest of your afternoon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.